Welcome to The Bench Has Spoken, a play-by-play survivor podcast from Bench Points Network. Throughout season 49, we're watching each episode and providing commentary, questions, and predictions.
We're going to start this episode with a quick episode 2 recap. And there was a lot of things that happened on season 49, episode 2. There were comments of the Easter Bunny. There was a lot of Gen Z slang talk, which was all very fun and exciting, or should I say fire. We're definitely very solidly in the millennial camp. But do you have any thoughts on the Gen Z slang that was used so freely in this episode?
I have never related to anyone more than I related to Nate tonight, having just no idea what people are saying half the time or like wondering if they're serious in the amount of times they said certain words.
Yeah, I felt the same thing, and they were filler words, so, I have tried to be cool and hip and fun and use some of those words in my everyday vocabulary. I also know the term 6'7" is very popular, but
I don't know what that means. Do you understand what 6'7" is?
Oh.
but I agree with you. I think Nate was very relatable in the sense that he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" But if they need me to say fire and vibe, I'll say fire and vibe. It's like
This makes me curious of what the demographic for Survivor is these days. Like, what is the breakdown of age in
yeah, that's true.
viewership? Very
That's true.
curious. Or
So
they do closed captions for millennials.
it was interesting to me. I looked up their ages, and Nate is 47, and I didn't expect that. I thought he was like maybe 40, 42, 43. I didn't expect him to be almost 50 years old, but that surprised me. But there is a pretty big age gap between him and his fellow players. So everybody else on the Elite tribe is in their late 20s, early 30s. So there's like a 17, 18-year-old age difference there. So I feel for Nate in the age gap perspective, and also I feel like he's almost the obvious outlier in that group, which is interesting. Anyway, moving on with this episode 2 recap is we got to know Yuli a little bit better. We got to know Hina a little bit better throughout the episode. The first situation that we ran into was a adventure challenge, and Alex, Jawan, and Matt went on the challenge. So they had 3 basketball hoops, almost like a Papa Shot that you would see at a Dave and Buster's, which is a favorite of me and my family. Jawan, Matt, and Jake were shooting coconuts into each other's baskets, and whoever got the most coconuts first, their basket would fall and they would be out, and then the next contender would fall and they would be out. So the winner of that challenge was Jawan. Jawan had the opportunity to choose an individual advantage where he could take a vote from Matt and Jake, or he could take a team advantage. And Jawan decided to take a team advantage, and he announced that immediately when he got back to camp. From there, they went on to a just regular challenge, and he was able to give the disadvantage that he had earned to the Hina tribe, and they performed well. Even with that disadvantage, when Jeff described the disadvantage, I thought there's no way whoever gets that disadvantage will not move forward. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong. Consider me wrong. They did. So Hina moved forward, and Kayla, what were you saying?
I think it's Kella.
Kella went back to tribal council again. From there were some twists and turns. Alex, in the mix of this whole episode, got an immunity idol. Everybody was seeming like they were going to put their votes on Annie. At the last minute, they gave us the perception that they were going to switch over to Sophie, but then inevitably ended up voting out Annie. And Alex ended the episode with an immunity idol in his pocket. So that's a very quick, very dirty, very simplistic rundown of episode 2. Mary, what did I miss? I know I missed something.
Let's see. Well, I think the biggest thing that you missed is there was very little Riz God in this episode, which was very disappointing. We could talk about that later, but there was a lot of Annie pretending that, you know what, I'm going to use some millennial jargon. She thought she was hard. She thought she was leading this tribe and bossing everybody around. I think that was an important thing to note, because I think that's ultimately what led to her getting the axe. But I think you hit all the big things.
Good stuff. That's where we're at for episode 2, starting episode 3, the little teaser they gave us made it seem like there were gonna be some shakeups. Did you watch the teaser?
I didn't. I feel like the teaser is gonna set me up for failure in my predictions, so I didn't watch it because I
That's
failed in my predictions this week.
Yeah, that's valid. Well, I will say I thought personally that Annie was going home and Annie went home. So I'm not a sports bettor, but I kind of feel like I was. And I don't know if there's anywhere you can bet on Survivor, but maybe I
Oh,
should
I'm
have.
sure there is. We need to look into that.
Yeah, because I feel good about that. Annie being gone, I think that the blue tribe is the new yellow. Blue is the new yellow. Yellow historically has
Just
been historically tragic, but blue's catching a vibe.
Yeah. It just stinks, and it's like, how I used to think that they just weren't trying very hard because it'd be so obvious when they'd pair people up that it was gonna be the weakest tribe. This one feels like there's no excuse. Like, I can't pinpoint why they're not winning anything at all or coming a little bit closer. I kind of think that maybe Jake is a little bit of a nothing. Hate to keep crapping on him, and I'm not talking about your husband, Jake, for everyone, for the record.
Maybe we should clarify.
But yeah, I just don't get it, why he's not doing better. I mean, I even Alex, he seems like he should be smart, he should be physical, and Sophie, same thing. I mean, you could say Annie and Nicole maybe were weak links, but I just don't understand.
I think Jake proves the point that we made in the last episode. Sure, be strong, but you can't just be strong. Like puzzles are equally, if not more important than strength. And people say, oh, we need to keep Jake for challenges. We need to keep Jake for challenges. Hey, newsflash, you have Jake and you're not winning challenges. So I don't know what the solution is there.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens, assuming that they have another challenge which with just the 4 of them. Can they pull something off now that they've gotten rid of the other 2?
Not if it unless it's just brute force strength. I don't think they can. I really don't. And even sorry, I'm jumped on your Jake train. But when he was in a challenge in the individual like adventure challenge where he had the opportunity to throw the coconuts, that to me is a strength challenge, an endurance challenge. And he still failed. But like your nipple rings and your muscles are not getting you anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like he's too goofy. Like, I don't feel like he's taking anything seriously. So he's I don't know if it's an act or if this is truly who he is, but it feels like there's just an attempt to be the class clown and make the jokes and everything, and he can't focus and get serious. And that's where he's failing in all these challenges because he's not taking anything seriously. Like, I feel like the shoe bandit thing says it all in my mind.
My only comment on the shoe bandit is what is going on? Why? Why? Who? What? Nobody. It's not that big a deal. Why
No,
do give me an airtime?
I know, and I felt like the first time it was this quirky, funny thing, and this time it felt like he was being vengeful when he did it, or he was, like, mad, and this is him taking out his anger, which makes it even more ridiculous because it's, like, such a childish thing to do. And I don't even know, like, what he would have been mad about, but that's just how it felt, it just felt like it was
It did feel like he was
a
vindictive
different
for
vibe, as the kids say.
yeah, but it's always the left shoe, and I'm like, get. I don't. There's too much going on for somebody to be like, oh, I'm gonna steal your shoe. Get out of here. Get out of here. I cannot.
Yeah. And I can't help but feel like they could spend 5 minutes with Jake and know that he was probably the shoe bandit. Like, I'm wondering if there are interviews that we're not or, like, confessionals that we're not seeing, where they're like, "Jake's definitely doing this. Come on, Jake, why are you doing this?" Or even where Alex might be like, "Hey, man, is this you with the shoes? Like, what's going on?"
I think Alex probably knows already. One thing when that tribe that is making me just cautious is they can't do anything. Like they keep on saying, "Oh, we have an alliance. We have an alliance. We have alliance," but the alliance keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and absorbing more people. It can't. It's not an alliance if everybody's in it. You're just a tribe.
Yeah. I had a lot of thoughts about that. Um, it just it felt I'll just say this for now. It felt like all these people think they're in charge of this tribe. No one is in charge of this tribe. No one is leading anything. Everybody just feels like they have some sort of um, edge or whatever on other people for some reason. All I can think is the only person who might have any sort of actual control over anyone is Jake because he's stealing people's shoes and it's like a little bit of psychological warfare. And that is literally it. Like everyone else is on even playing field. And just the fact that you have an alliance but you're hiding the fact that you're looking for a beware challenge from 2 of your alliance members and bringing them in only because they happened upon you kind of tells the tale.
I agree.
They're doomed.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be like an alliance analyzer type situation. It's a little tricky because I don't think you have a true alliance until you've been to tribal, in my personal opinion. If you've not been to tribal, you have hypothetical alliances.
Right.
So I think there's
A good
not.
point, and I would say too, to add to that, that is evidenced very clearly by Savannah and her, like, bipolar reactions to Jawan. Like, okay, she's mad and thinks he's crazy because he freaked out when he couldn't start a fire last episode, and then this time she's upset with him because he stole her bag, and I get that, I'd be pissed off too, especially in that situation, you'd be
That
like,
was an accident.
I know, but I could see her being mad at least about it because she's like, "Is this a strategical thing? What is he trying to do? Does he think I have something? Does he not trust me? Or is he trying to sabotage me in some way?" So I kinda get that. But yeah, it's like, but then he wins the advantage, so she's back in his good graces. Well, what if they had had to go to tribal council before any one of those things happened? Like, how would she feel?
Yeah, you love Jawan. So when he won that challenge, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
So I was so excited for him because he's I was trying to think of who I could liken him to. He just reminds me of somebody, and I couldn't really pinpoint. It's just like the kid that just always messes up or has something unfortunate happen to him. Um, and almost I don't know. I have a soft spot for him, so I was really proud of him that he chose to go and dominated.
No, I totally agree, and I think his tribe in itself is, like, hindering him a little bit, and I think once he gets out of that tribe, the merge happens because I really do think he will, then he'll thrive. I think it happens over and over in different seasons. There are people that make it to the merge, which they need to because they need a quick refresh, and then they win or get in the top 3 or get in the top 5 when they were in the bottom of their own, like, smaller tribe, and I think he's one of those people that will really be an outlier. Another individual in that specific tribe that I wish I would have mentioned last week that I think you relate to on a deeper level is Sage.
Yes, I must admit that I have to pee more than the average bear, so I could definitely relate to her being like, "I'm so nervous, I have to go to the bathroom," and just
And Sage is my Mary Hauser, so I hope she'll start. I hope she's there for a while. But every time she has to go to the bathroom, she said, heart rate directly relates to my bladder. And I thought, relatable. I get it. I get it. I like Sage. I hope she stays around for a while. I don't think she's really in the alliance. I feel like her and Shannon, um, it's edited in a way to make us think that they're Sage, Savannah, and Shannon are in an alliance with Rizzo, but truly, I think they're just floating around there waiting for something to happen. They've not had anything to test their relationships yet, which is really going to tell us what's going on.
yeah. I'm glad you brought that tribe up in the alliance because I'm confused by all of it. I feel like I've heard that Jawan talked to Rizzo, right, last episode, and Jawan, I thought, was maybe working also with Nate and either Shannon and Savannah at one point or Shannon or Savannah at one point. So, I don't even know if that's real, if I made that up, or who the 4 or 5 even are in that group aligned, but I think to your point, it probably doesn't even matter at this moment because we need to see what they're like under pressure when they lose, if we ever see anybody but Kella lose.
Right, right. And we may not. So that tribe's alliance is Kella, Jake, Alex, and Sophie seem to be a throuple. Jake seems
And
to.
don't forget Jeremiah, the poor little drag along.
I like Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah could and would do well, but I think he's hindered by the group that he's with. I
Yeah.
do.
I think he's gonna be the one when they merge, say that, there's one more tribal council and they lose one more person and then we have to do a switch up of tribes. I think he's gonna go off somewhere else and thrive. People are gonna really like him, and I think he just got paired with a group of people that don't appreciate him or his, like, likability or whatever, or the fact that he just wants to play the game and is, like, trying to work with people. And especially when you look at him going to a tribe that's not lost yet, they're gonna be a little happier and maybe more eager to work with him. Whereas I think Jake and Axe would come in as looking like threats just because they're, like, a bulkier dude or whatever.
Well, and they've highlighted that. I think one almost like killer mistake that they've made is they very like heavily marketed their alliance. Alex, Jake, and Sophie. So when the merge, not if, when the merge happens, it's going to make them individually and as a group a threat, which is not necessarily a good thing for the other tribes because then it'll be 3 against 12 versus 3 against 2, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's tricky.
I don't even know,
I don't think.
you know. I feel like everybody's in an alliance except Sophie S. And I forgot she existed until they showed her slapping her legs at the last challenge. And I was like, "Oh, Sophie S."
Yeah, Sophia keeps surprising me that she's in a tribe at all. I don't think that they don't seem to have alliances at all, but they don't seem to have had needed any either. So I feel like the yellow tribe, Hina, is very understated this season. I think once the merge happens, they'll break out and they'll be obvious like stars, and then they'll be obvious weak links. But
Yeah.
overall, I feel like they've been kind of chill. And then MC, I know we're not talking about challenges right now, but I'm going to say one thing. When they did the challenge, she ran up the wall like a
Yes!
beast.
I
Yeah.
saw
I
that.
saw it, I was like, "Oh, she's a fitness trainer as her job, so no wonder she was just like a powerhouse." But I was shook. She made it look like she was like casually walking up a
Yeah.
hill.
I that stood out to me too. I can't wait to see what she does and how she does when she actually has to, like, play and strategize and stuff, or we get to see that part of it because I just feel like she's such a strong contender. I'm gonna say this every single week until she's gone. She's physical, she seems strategic and intelligent. I mean, I love her attitude about everything and just I can't wait to see more of her.
Yeah, she's been my favorites. I feel like she seems genuine and just like a person playing the game and not somebody playing a character, which
Right. Yeah,
I appreciate.
for sure.
But I think that's it for alliances. Okay, this is the was not on our docket, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway. Of Hina and Yuli, is there a tribe that you think obviously outside shines the other?
This is probably obvious, but I feel like Hina, because they seem to be the most cohesive in the challenges, which I think is ultimately what matters. If you have a group that has the ability to keep themselves fed and warm and all this kind of stuff, and they can work together in challenges and be physically strong and seemingly intelligent, that's going to be really hard to beat. And I think the 20-pound disadvantage and the 10 keys really highlights that. I mean, Kella might have just rolled over and started crying if they had to have the 20
Yeah.
pounds. And I think it would have prevented Uli from winning. I think it's definitely Hina for me. How about you?
I I think I would agree. And they seem to be more unified as well. In my personal opinion, Christina seems to be like a weak link, but they seem to have, instead of targeting or identifying her as a weak link, they've like embraced her and let her do what she's good at and what she's strong at and let her kind of focus on what she can do instead of focusing on what she can't do, which I think is a good sign of a tribe. At this point, I feel like they're doing the right thing by just kind of relaxing and not pulling out their targets until it's time or it's necessary. But I'll be interested to see what they do under pressure. That's how you figure out who people really are, is when they've got the magnifying glass on them and the clock is ticking down and they've got to vote somebody out. I like it when everybody's sweating a little bit. So we'll have to see what happens when that comes up.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about Survivor is the everybody's so happy and everything's great when your tribe is winning every time. And then as soon as there's a change in that situation, all hell breaks loose and people start to be frantic and their like evil streaks come out. And I love that.
I love it when they're going into tribal council and I don't have a freaking clue who is going out. And tonight they tricked me because I thought it was going to be Sophie. I thought for sure, I thought Alex was going to vote Sophie.
See, okay, so I played this game with myself where I try to analyze everything that happens in every situation and see if I can guess what the outcome is going to be based on all the little hints. So, my prediction earlier was that because there's so much in the teasers and like on social media about Annie being cantankerous and like we're going to get her out, that was like just to mess with our minds and make us think that way so that we could be surprised by what actually happened. So then through the episode, as they show Annie more and more, I'm like, okay, maybe I could still see them trying to trick us. But as soon as they brought up the Sophie thing, I was like, nope, it's going to be Annie because now they're trying to like make us feel like it's something different. That's probably the only time this season that I will make that guess at that point in the episode.
It's tricky. There is a lot of talk online about people, opinions that season 49 has and will be kind of mediocre, because everybody's focusing on prepping and preparing and like making 50 a really, really, really big deal. And I'll have to say, nothing major has happened so far. I wanted to. I wanted to. I want there to be some, and I know it's only been 2 episodes, so we'll see. But so far, I hate to agree, but I do agree that it's been a little bit mediocre or mid, as the millennials say. Or not the millennial, Gen Z, I think it is.
Okay, I disagree.
Hey.
Okay.
Is it the shoe stealing?
Yeah, the shoe bin is really putting I think that the thing that I hated the most about the season before it started, which was the personalities of each individual person in those little videos that CBS spits out, it made me really nervous about this cast and whether I was gonna like anyone or be entertained by them at all or just annoyed the whole time. I feel like the personalities are actually making me very invested in this season and excited about it because
See,
it's like there's so many people that I like, and a lot of Survivor seasons, especially, like, the last 10 or so, I've had so much trouble picking people that I feel connected to or that I'm really rooting for, or there might be, like, 2 out of the whole cast, and I'm like, "I'm really a fan of you," and I like a lot of these people, and I think they're fun to watch. I also think that even something as simple as we have a tribe with the beefcakes and they can't win, that's exciting to me because it's unexpected.
yeah.
I think what other aspects of it, like the change up for the challenge that you don't automatically lose your vote if you go to the or not challenge, the journey and lose. It's not an automatic vote loss, and that makes me wonder what other changes did they make this season? Like, what else will we see in terms of, like, switching up, how advantages work or the journeys or the challenges, or will it be something else up Jeff's sleeve? So I'm excited now for this season, and I think that they have to make this one good so that people are still very excited about season 50.
Yeah, I can see that too. I
Like,
can see
yeah.
that. I'm just ready for a little bit of action, and I feel like everybody's getting along like too well. Fight, fight. Pick somebody you don't like. Pick somebody you can't stand. Because they would say Annie's a Karen, but they would all be like super kind and nice. Like she had no idea that people were not her fan. Not a clue. I just wish there was more confrontation or friction, but surely it's coming.
Do you think that that's a reflection of the younger generation? Like,
Oh,
'cause they're nicer to each other and or I mean, I guess, I don't know, I'm not of them,
maybe.
so I can't say, but it feels like there's not as much, our growing up for us was you got made fun of for how you look, you got made fun of if you were different. We didn't celebrate anything that was, like, abnormal, and I feel like that's different now, so do you think that, like, a Gen Z is less likely to be mean to someone's face or confrontational or whatever else?
Maybe, but I want like good, juicy, gross TV. So fight.
I do too. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Real Housewives girly, so, yeah, I want to
Yeah,
see the
no,
drama.
I think you're right. Especially we saw that with which tribe was it? Yuli. Like it made it very clear that they were kind of kumbaya, we're buds, we're enjoying each other, we're having
But
a
I
great.
think that's so freaking fake. Sorry, I don't know why I just got so hostile. I think Savannah's the fakest person on earth. I think she's really gonna turn out to be a
Okay, we should have talked about this last episode. She's a news anchor. Nobody cares. Nobody cares you're a news anchor, and that does not make you a better Survivor player. It doesn't.
I saw this reel on Instagram, millennial, and I wish I could say who did it because I wanna give people credit, but I don't know. But it was, like, people being dramatic about what their job is on Survivor, and it was, like, 100% making fun of Savannah in my mind. And I could be happy for the rest of my life if I never heard her do her news broadcasting again.
Yeah, and she did a fake newscaster voice and said, "She's pooped in the ocean twice." Okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay, that's how I feel.
There's an account like Survivor Affirmations that really did her justice this week, so look for that.
We'll have to check it out. Survivor affirmations.
So let's talk about who had a big bonehead move this week, like who made a poor choice and maybe it'll come back to haunt them or it was just annoying, etc. Mine were sort of boring. I think that Annie was just a bonehead the entire time, like being completely oblivious to anything that was going on with her tribe, thinking that she was in control the entire time when she wasn't. fighting with people, bossing people around, and then at tribal, just really sealing her fate. Like, I doubt at that point anyone was gonna change their mind, but just being so argumentative and insufferable at tribal council, I think for sure made sure that no one was gonna change their vote or try to save her. And then the dang shoe, I just am gonna bring that up every time. Stop with the shoe brand.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the 2 things I have 2 things that I think where people were silly about. When they went on I keep on calling the adventure challenge. What do you call it?
I like Adventure Challenge, but it's a journey, which is literally silly.
Why did 2 people not get together? The first thing well, I don't know what I'm gonna do until I'm gonna be in that situation, but I would have turned to the person next to me and said, "Okay, you and me, we're gonna get Jake out," or "You and me, we're gonna get Matt out," or "You and me" like, I would have said, "We're together, and then we'll be one-on-one." Like, that's what I would have immediately said to the person
Yes.
directly next to me. Not to be mean, not to be hateful, but I'm not going to
It's
lose.
strategizing, right? And then then that's a formation of a bond with somebody who's not in your tribe too that you can carry forward to the merge or whatever.
Obvious thing to do, but they were all just, like, freely shooting these coconuts.
Yeah, it was weird. Okay, so I am obsessed with reality TV in general, and I used to watch Biggest Loser religiously, and this they did challenges like that on Biggest Loser where, you basically be eliminating and I think even, like, the challenge, they do that kinda stuff, and they always decide who they're gonna go after, so it might be all the girls are gonna go after the same guy or, somebody has beef with somebody else, so they get their friends to help them take them out, or the most powerful person, or whatever. Like, yeah, that was a missed opportunity. I don't understand the lack of strategy there.
Oh,
So
and even in mid-game, if you noticed you were losing, why didn't you go to the other guy and say, "I'm not losing. Like, me and you, we're on this other guy. Like, this is our enemy." It bothered me that nobody did that. I don't think that was strategic. I don't think it was thoughtful. I think they were just being willy-nilly and didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You're there to hurt people's feelings, and that bothers me. So that's one thing that I think was like a bonehead move. But the second thing I think was a bonehead move was Alex when he found the idol. What's it called? Danger idol.
beware, beware advantage. I don't hear things better though. Danger idol. That's right to Jeff.
Making things up. When he found it, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut because Alex has pulled in Jeremiah. Alex has pulled in Sophie. Alex has pulled in the whole wide world. And if Sophie's gameplay would have ended right, she would have had that damn idol.
I feel like if I remember correctly, and I agree with you, but I feel like he had no choice but to tell Jake because Jake was standing right there when he found it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like
I feel like
he
Jake
found it and Jake was like walking up. So he probably could have just like tried to pocket it, but maybe in that moment he just was
felt nervous.
stupid.
But then tell
I
Jake,
agree.
hey, this is just me and you. Keep your mouth shut. And especially if you're gonna get your throuple girlfriend in here, no. No, 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 no. If I'm your number one, I'm your number one. And Jake even said himself he can't decide who his number one is.
Well, if that ain't Jake, I don't know what is. We'll know whose ever shoe he doesn't steal. I totally agree with you. I was still confused why they were or why Alex was trying so hard to hide it from anyone else. Like once Jake knew if he I guess I could see it. He and Jake are or he and yeah, he and Jake are number ones. If we can keep it from other people, then they can have something just between the two of them in the future. But once Sophie found out, I was like, you're either gonna lose your vote, which risks your entire alliance for tonight anyway, or you tell Jeremiah and you have one extra person helping you look. So I don't know. At that point, when you're on the bubble and you're gonna lose your vote that night unless you find it, then I don't understand why you wouldn't just be like, hey, Jeremiah and Sophie, come on, we gotta look for this so that we can make sure we get Annie out.
Yeah, as a group. I am glad they didn't do that, but I also hope they don't lose next week unless the merger happens, because if they do lose next week, logically Jeremiah's gone, which breaks my heart because I think he's a really good player.
I mean, I wish we need Bridget here because she's like our factotum, knows every minute of Survivor ever. But there was, I think, last season or the season before, there was one of these sad tribes that kept losing. And once they got rid of the two people that were sort of like truly their weakest links, then they won. So maybe we'll see that with
I
Kella
hope so,
this
but
time.
who's good at puzzles? Nobody. Nobody.
Yeah. Ugh,
Yeah,
dang.
they're shaking. I don't know. We'll see. we'll see what happens. Do you have any thoughts or predictions for next episode?
I really wish I could say, "Oh, I think that Kel is gonna finally win, and then we're gonna see Uli at tribal council, and let's hope that we see a lot of strategizing from Riz God so that he can stick around." But I don't know, I feel like Kel is just gonna lose.
No, I think you might be right.
I
I
do
think
think, though, that Jake is a dope. I mean, he's already been like, "I don't know who my number 1 is," and blah, blah, blah. I think that Jake can be convinced by Alex to keep Jeremiah instead of Sophie. So
yeah.
there's a little bit of a chance that that could be an interesting thing to watch where they're deciding which of them to keep. Or maybe they even wild card get rid of Jake or Alex. Because Sophie doesn't trust Alex either, so maybe if she can figure out a way to break up the bromance, like, "Oh, he's got an idol, let's get rid of him and not let him know so that we can get rid of that idol and bring it back for somebody else."
I was proud of her when she said she was trying to cover up the box and go back. I thought, I didn't expect that out of you in a good way. Like, I'm proud of you for doing that.
I
And
didn't really have I guess I felt like she had the opportunity to go far and to do something when we talked previously. This episode sort of solidified that for me because I felt like she was stepping up a little bit more in terms of strategy, and that was, like, one of the big things that I saw from her. Very proud of you, Sophie.
yeah, I agree. Do you have any thoughts about the challenges? Good, bad, or ugly?
My takeaway from every challenge is always going to be, I don't understand how they can, remember all of the rules or what they're supposed to
I
do.
agree.
And I wanna know, what is it like, if someone who's been on Survivor can tell us, like, what is it like in real life when they're explaining the rules? Because I would need, like, a diagram, probably, like, a 25-minute overview of what's going on, lest I be disqualified for doing something wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I feel like there's all these things, and then when they're running the challenges, sometimes I'm like, why are they not doing this? And then my husband's like, well, maybe that's not in the rules. I'm like, well, we don't know the rules. Like, I totally agree with you. I feel like it's a lot at once, but I imagine there's some sort of like, I agree. If somebody was on Survivor and you see this, please clarify what kind of training you get before you start running these challenges.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a dummy and would never be good at Survivor.
Agree with
But
that.
I think that they've been fun so far. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that's, like, new or different or unexpected, but although I guess the journey or the adventure challenge, as you like to call it, was a little bit different just because I feel like it's always a race to finish a puzzle or a race to find something. It's not actively being able to eliminate somebody else.
Like, it seems like a little bit simple. Well, do you think that the right choice was made by Dewan to benefit his tribe and not himself?
That's a good question. I think this early in the game, yes.
I agree.
He made the right choice, especially after, and maybe this was edited in a way where it didn't happen in the order that we saw it, but especially after, like, going through somebody's bag, basically, and being caught doing it, and then, he failed at the fire thing. I feel like it's a good time to be like, "I'm here for you guys, like, I wanna be part of your alliance and, keep me with you," or whatever. Not to mention just it lowers his risk of having to go to tribal council.
He needed some social equity. I agree with that for sure. He was like lacking in that sense. But it was interesting because I thought I have like genuinely have no clue what I would have done in that situation. Either if I was in his shoes, I either would have said, okay, I'm going to purchase social equity by saving my tribe or giving my tribe a benefit, or screw my tribe. I don't need my tribe. I'm going to benefit myself because they don't like me anyway. And I'm going to lie about it. And I don't think he could have made a wrong choice in that situation. I really don't.
Agreed. I mean, I don't even know how you would come back from something like that and not, I mean, I guess you just lie and say, well, it was just a personal advantage and, whatever, but I'm a terrible liar, so I would not be able to do that. And then, it's a guarantee that eventually that's going to get found out unless both the other people are gone before any of the tribes change up or merge.
Yeah. I don't know. I will say one tiny more thing about Juwan. When he was calling Jeff Uncle Jeff during the challenge, I thought that was the cutest thing in the whole wide world. And I already love him, but it made me love him more. I thought, you're adorable. That's
He seems really sweet.
really, really sweet.
He cracks me up. He's, like, such a weird, like, juxtaposition of personalities because he feels, like, very, very nerdy, but also not nerdy, so I can't figure him out.
I like him though. I do like him. One last thing I'll say about the challenges this week is I was really impressed. Christina, who is scared of bugs and the earth and nature, who I'm not sure why, but applied to be on Survivor and got on the show. When she sat out, I was so impressed. Like, you can sit out and just sit and chill and relax. She didn't. She was like full force, 110% all in cheering on her team. And they kept on like panning over to her. And I thought, yes, like that's what you need to do when you sit.
Yeah.
Coming from behind, and they were doing a killer job at it. So last episode, I had kind of written her off as like on my shit list a little bit, but this most recent one, now was like, okay, all right. I appreciate how you're supporting your teammates.
It also made me laugh when Jawan announced that he was giving them the disadvantage. Her reaction was funny.
Well, I don't remember what you do. Can you reenact it?
I think it was like, "Surprise!" or something. I don't know what word she said, but it was just like a very sarcastic reaction that made me laugh in the moment.
I like her. Risk God was very understated in this episode, which is kind of tragic. Hopefully, he'll come blazing back in.
I did make a note on him though, which was that I think I forgot to miss him. You know, obviously went into this episode being like, I can't wait to see what Riz God says and does. And then he just was absent. But when they were in the challenge and Jeff said something like, um, Riz God's trying something cool, does not work.
And he said, I was trying it again. That's unique. I thought it looked cool. It did look, I have a 3-year-old who does gymnastics, and it did look a little bit similar. Fine.
We should Photoshop the gymnastics leotard on Riz God.
Yeah, that was good commentary. I appreciated that commentary from Jeff.
I wonder, I mean, they built him up so much in that first episode, so either they literally had nothing, so they had to give Riz God time, or I fear, like, what if
Do you think he's going?
no, I guess not, because he's in 50, and there's no way they would let someone have, like, literally just time to shine in episode 1 and then, disappear and come back in 50, so he has to have a resurgence, hopefully next week.
Some sort. Something has to happen with the shoes too, because they wouldn't have given, I mean, at least 5 solid full minutes in the first 2 episodes to the shoe situation if nothing comes of it, right? Or do you think they're trying to show he's strategic? Because that doesn't feel strategic to me. That just feels like
What if he uses that with the jury at the end? Tell
I
everybody.
love shoes. Okay.
You know what? I'm really like not helping myself out with my opinion on this season. I'm really actually providing more evidence for your opinion on the season. But I wonder if they literally just have anything else. They were like, well, we have to focus on this tribe because they suck so bad and they're going to keep going to tribal council. So we have to show their dynamic at camp. And all we have is this shoe thing.
Yeah. I don't know.
And Jeremiah's laugh.
I think it's cute. First, it got on my nerves for 1 second, and then I was like, I like him. I think he's adorable. I think he's smart. I like him. One thing I want to ask you about, which got off the wall, is in the challenge, they were able to earn advantages like fishing gear. And one of them was like regular fishing gear, and the other one looks like regular fishing gear sitting on a box with a net. What are they going to do with the net?
I don't think we've ever really gotten a good or a satisfying
Net catch?
video of, what's the difference? The team that has the one thing versus the other, what's the advantage there? How much more fish are they catching? Are they using all the pieces? It kind of makes me feel like when you buy a vacuum cleaner that has like 85 attachments, but you lose them all immediately or don't use them all and they just sit in a closet. You could do just as much probably with just the regular vacuum cleaner and like one extended hose attachment.
I felt like mediocre about that. Oh, one thing we should mention is Kella, the lack of food and resources, worm eating, the coconut drinking. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I didn't realize it was that dire that we were still eating worms. I mean, I don't mind, whatever. Good for him for not being afraid and just going to town.
He didn't seem like the type that would consume a worm, but I mean, I think he was, it made him look like he was the worm trailblazer, where he was like, guys,
It just makes me think back to, and we've talked about this, I don't know if we've talked about this in recording, but we've talked about, early seasons of Survivor when they were given nothing and they were there for 39 days and people were losing so much weight and everybody was just like breaking down physically. It's like, would these people even be able to survive in that environment? How many people would quit? Well, not Jeremiah because he's eating worms, but he didn't even want.
He said, "I'm just telling myself I'm eating dirt that moves." That's what he said, which is valid. One thing I worry about, which is I'm sure they have some sort of defense against this, but I imagine you would worry about, then our friend Bridget would also worry about, is sunscreen.
Wonder about that. And I've seen clips or whatever from Jeff where he's like, we want everyone to apply for Survivor. So whatever your disability is, we'll try to figure it out. Like, people wear glasses, we'll figure out how to make that work in the challenges when there's mud involved and all this kind of crap. But no mention of sunscreen. And surely that's a consideration.
Jeff, if you're hearing this, what do you think about our pale skin and what would be good candidates for season 51?
Do they still get to bring like
Comfort item?
yeah. Mine would have to just be like a hat, like
Uh,
a big ass hat to block the sun.
yeah, I don't know. I do remember they used to have a, is it Survivor? They would have a comfort item and they got
Yeah, because remember Colby in season 2 brought the Texas flag?
That's true, yeah. Yeah, I liked Colby. Last episode when you asked who my celebrity crush is, I think, Wu was for sure my first one. I was like, "Whoa," but Colby also, I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, and Colby still looks good.
Yeah, yeah. Is he in 50? Do you know?
Shoot, I don't remember. I wanna say yes, but maybe not. I feel like he's been in several.
Yeah, he's been in more than one for sure. Overall, I think episode 2 was, in my personal opinion, a little anticlimactic. I'm hoping for some more action. The teaser, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it made it look like there was some sort of snake attack. It's just dirt that moves, but it's also an animal. Uh, come up. It looked like Jake was the snake bite recipient.
He's
Maybe
probably chucked a shoe at it.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Who knows? But that's what it made it look like was happening for episode 3. I just hope there's more action. Hope there's more conflict. I hope there's more question in my mind because I felt like it was very obvious they were voting Annie out. And then all of a sudden they're like, make him think it's Sophie. Make him think it's Sophie. And I did. I took the bait.
I think your dreams will come true for the next episode because look where we're at.
You think Emerge already?
No, no, no. I mean, so Kella, let's just assume they're gonna lose. Then those 4 people who are allegedly in an alliance have to vote one of themselves out. And it may seem like Jeremiah is the obvious choice, but I think there's some room for him to fight his way back in. Um, and if it's one of the other tribes, then we see that drama for, oh wow, we've been all kumbaya and everybody's best friends until one of us has to stab the others in the back. You know
That's
what I
the
mean?
one I hope. I hope that another tribe has to get stressy and depressy and pick someone from their tribe, and I hope they fight and argue for our entertainment.
We need a good Liz crash out,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
we need a Q or a Banu to come in and just really disrupt everything and piss everybody off.
Yeah, that's what we need. That's what we need. Good stuff. Well, I think that's it for Survivor season 49, episode 2. We appreciate you watching and make sure to check us out on YouTube and Instagram.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about for sure Sage having a pee. I wanted to talk about Jawan calling Jeff uncle and then the shoes. Those are the things I was like, okay, Becca, you've got to bring those up.
I just don't. The shoe thing is wild to me because if I were in a situation like that, my first assumption would be that an animal just took it or like it fell out of something or whatever. I don't know. Like, I don't.
This feels like a very strong word. And he kept on, an episode boy kept on saying, I'm going to cause chaos. It's not chaotic.
I also wonder, I mean, this isn't probably worth bringing up, but I wonder, someone like Annie, what is her situation in real life? Does she have a lot of friends? Do people see her as overbearing and bossy? Is it the way that it was edited? Is it truly like a generational thing? I'm just very curious about the people that seem to have the womp womp personalities. Surely that's not like how they are.
Who knows? But I agree with you. I wonder about the editing. I wonder if people that are there would be like, oh no, that's not happened. You know what I mean? Because the first episode, oh, I meant to bring this up too. I made it look like Nicole just like ran up and spit in Jeremiah's face. But according to Nicole, on a separate episode, Jeremiah was begging her to spit in his face. And then finally, like, but the way it was edited, it made it look like Jeremiah just walked up to her, rubbing it down. She just, and then started vomiting 20 minutes.
Nicole needs to sue CBS for like damages.
Definitely.
Although I will say that I felt like maybe this was me just thinking there's no way someone just spit in someone's face unsolicited, but I felt like he must have asked her.
She said her exact words on the show I listened to was, "He begged me to spit
Yeah.
in his face." And then she said, but the way it was edited,
I mean, what I wondered in that moment is she just like, splash I'm sure their water is not limited. So if
maybe
she needed in that moment to just
she was
sacrifice a little bit.
some force, and she was like, "Oh, no, I can get that. My big, deep, girthy, girly lungs." That's debunked. Maybe that should have been a segment. Debunked.
I still don't know why she was throwing up or
It was
what.
like, "Here's your Survivor episode, barfing, tribal council." That's what it felt like.
For Nicole, we like you, Nicole. I hope you're watching, and we wish that you had stuck around longer.
We do, but I don't know Annie, that's who should have been sacrificed.
You know
Annie,
what? Maybe ultimately Nicole was the right choice because Annie was just blah and was delusional, and Nicole potentially could have been more strategic, and maybe in something that we didn't see, they saw that and said, she's got to go. I'm always hoping for the best. Let
okay.
me see your idol again.
Shit, I forgot to carry it in here. I wanted to explain who he was.
Creepy. His face is getting blurred out when you like bring him close to you.
We call him, oh my god. I'm gonna have to
I feel like I've seen that before, but I can't remember where you got it.
in a tree in Charleston, Jake and I were drunk walking home, and Jake said, "There's somebody in that tree." And he walked up with me, grabbed this, and got down on one knee and pretended like he was proposing. And we have had it ever since. He's missing a hand.
Heck,
He's beautiful.
I love him.
Summer calls him a creepy man.
Yeah, I see that.
Had him for over 10 years now. But I think he would be a fantastic beauty couple. Did you notice? I know this is like after we've got done recording and everything, but there's a boy and a girl idol.
Yeah. I don't think I really thought about what that could mean until just
I
now when you
agree.
said that. But yeah, I did notice that the idols are different and more interesting and more like trophies, like a traditional trophy,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
And I hope that we're not seeing them yet. What happened anyway? The immunity idols. I hope they're more like substantial than like a beaded bracelet. I thought that's too easy to hide. I don't like that. Someone can stuff in their butt cheeks and nobody know.
I do like with them in their current state, I like the idea that somebody can create a fake one.
Yeah, I do.
I find that I feel like that's been underutilized or underwhelming, but a good potential for excitement.
Well, maybe Jake will steal some shoelaces and then use that.
If I ever go, my comfort item is gonna be like a bead kit.
Actually, I'm just gonna. I need my cell phone so I can order fake immunity items off of TiVo. It'll be fantastic.